I praise God once more again. My fellow Kenyans, my fellow citizens, my brothers and sisters. I'm Prophet Wilfred Ngwanyubayachi. My full name I've given is Prophet Wilfred Ngwanyubayachi, serving God under our Mission, Deliverance and Healing Ministry. And the founder of the ministry is Apostle Ernest Mwiliza. I'm part of the pastoral team. The head office of the ministry is here in Nairobi. We have several branches within the nation of Kenya. And if God willing, by the grace of God, we are crossing the borders of this nation very soon. I believe that God who has called us has a reason for us to excel, to multiply, to be fruitful, to increase, and to go beyond the borders. I know that this message may belong to the land of Kenya as a whole. This is just a prophetic message that God has given unto me. And this is for the land of Kenya. As I have been praying, you know, the things that are taking place in the nation of Kenya are not good, though we are expectantly for the revival. But this one thing that God has given unto me is something that we should not as Kenyans, we should not take it for granted. This is the message that God has given unto me. I love Kenya. I like praying for Kenya. I always pray for Kenya. But before I go into detail concerning the message, my number is down there, +254 725 22 64 58. I believe that God has a reason for this message to be shared at a time like this. First, I can say that I did not choose myself to be what I am today. But because God has chosen me and has called me for this very purpose, and this is the message that God has given unto me, I was resting in my bed. I was resting in my bed. And after having some prayers and went to sleep, while I was resting, a clear vision came unto me. I was beside the high level of the nation of Kenya, where I could see the valleys, I could see the mountains, I could see almost the environmental nature of Kenya. And behold, there was a great tree that sprout out from the valley. Indeed, this was a valley, and the tree came forth from the valley. The tree looked like one that was extending towards the heavens, because The tree almost covered the entire mountains, the hills of the land of Kenya. The tree was so visible unto me. And as I marveled at the look of the tree, I'm describing the tree so that you may get what God was speaking to me. As I marveled, the tree seemed to be very healthy. Even its branches seemed to be very healthy. But I saw something like an angel, something like an angel. I cannot tell the figure clearly. Was bearing the sword in the hand, and he could chop off even one part of the branch of the tree. I couldn't understand before the angel had chopped off. And the nature of the tree was that even in our homes, in our ancestral home, that tree, when you cut it off, something will always come out of that tree like water. Something will come out from the tree like water. But for this very tree, according to my expectation, was water will come out. But the tree, blood came out of the tree. Then I heard a voice behind me, which said loudly, "This is an ancient tree, a bloody tree. The tree that has become healthy because of the blood. Not the blood of animals, but the blood of mankind. A tree that is full of false hopes. The tree that has full hopes, but that appears to be promising. But these are false hopes. The voice could say there are false hopes that are behind this tree. Do not be deceived by the leaves, the branches behind the tree. Indeed, the leaves of the tree appear to be so healthy, and there were so many that could cover the shade. The shade underground it, you could think that this is a shade of a house. And I was just listening to the voice when I heard that the shade of the tree is not as what you think, son of man. The shade of the tree is not as what you think, son of man. The shade of the tree is full of poisonous vipers. So take care, do not move closer to the shade. Indeed, that shade is full of lies. That shade is full of lies. It is lies. It is not a shade. It's full of lies. Once you are there, you are done. Beneath it, the crimes of robbery are under that shade. Don't move closer, son of man. Beneath that shade, there are crimes of robbery, where our victims never depart. Beneath the ground of its stem, this is now where I saw the roots of the tree were somehow exposed, that one could see them. But they were mad with blood. They were mad with blood, smeared with blood. And I heard the voice telling me, you see the roots, how they are smeared with blood? The tree has been strengthened by that blood. It is not water. It is blood that those roots are capturing from the soil of the land. Then I was there shaken and asked God, what is the reason for this? God said, this is an ancient tree. An ancient tree. Ancient tree. And these are the reasons for the judgment against the ancient tree. It is a terrible thing that Kenya should take it seriously, that something terrible is going to happen. I don't know if it has already begun, but something very soon. If it has not begun, very soon it is going to happen in the land of Kenya. These are the reasons. Remember, the tree, as I could see it, the tree is like it had grown from the valley, not on the mountain. It had grown from the valley. And God said, reason number one, why this tree is wandering before his eyes, that the tree has exalted itself as a source of solution to the land of Kenya. The tree has exalted itself as a solution to the land of Kenya. That is the reason number one, that the tree is wandering because it has exalted itself as a source of solution to the environment around it. That great ancient Kenyan tree. And have forgot its maker, the creator. The tree has forgotten its maker, the creator. These are the things that God was speaking to me after I was shaken by the vision. And God said, through self-exaltation, this tree has captured the brains of many. The leaves that I was seeing, when those leaves appears to be green, when those leaves appear to be lively, those leaves are just empty. Those leaves are the brains of men and women that this tree has captured. And God was showing me, beside the leaves, there were nests of birds of the air. And I was asking myself, how the nests of the birds of the air were within this tree that appeared to have fruits, but the birds of the air were not eating the fruits. Were not eating the fruits. The birds of the air, you could see them. Something like wind blowing, the birds of the air would come down under the shade. And these birds of the air, many of them appear to be vultures that were just feeding on the remains of human beings under the shade. So I was just asking myself, what could be all this? So whoever could go under the shade of this tree, something like wind would blow over the branches of the tree, and the fruits within the tree will fall down. As these men are looking speedily, are going in thirst to have the fruits, that is the trap. They could not depart from that shade of the tree. They were just held hostage. Then God told me that this is the reason number 2, because this tree has made the hostages, it is sacrifice. The tree has made the hostage as a sacrifice to the birds of the air, to the queen of the air. Those vultures represented the demons of the air, the queen of the air. The tree appeared to be graceful, merciful. The tree appeared to be graceful and compassionate to her victims. But once they are there, they are taken captive. And I heard the voice saying, do not be deceived by compassionate of the tree. Because behind this tree there are deadly charms, deadly charms, deadly charms that are meant to destroy all the victims. The reason why this tree will be destroyed, behind it there are deadly charms through which this tree has been using in exerting a corrupting influence throughout different decades, different generations within the nation of Kenya. This tree, behind it, there are deadly charms which has been used in exerting a corrupting what? Influence. A corrupting influence. Several decades. And God showed me the decades are over 5 decades now. By this moment, I was shown this tree. The influence of this tree has undergone through the environment of the land of Kenya over 5 decades. Over 5 decades. Over 5 decades. And through these deadly charms, men and women have been brainwashed. They don't think for themselves. They think of the fruits of the tree, which are just lies, false hopes. The fruits of the tree, which are not living, are full of poison. And God said, this tree, when the tone of God changed, that behind me, that voice, when I heard the tone changing and saying, her mistress, this is a mistress of sorceries. This tree is a mistress of sorceries that has been destroying the lives of Kenyans, decades in, decades out. And remember, the decades are over 5 decades now. The mistress of sorceries. God named this tree. I heard it clearly. Her name is a mistress of sorceries. That through her seductions, it has captured her victims and laid them hostage. And this is one of the reasons why the tree will be destroyed. And God said also, that voice said, through your sorceries, you have made the land of Kenya and her inhabitants. You have sold the land of Kenya and her inhabitants. Through your sorceries, you have sold the land of Kenya and her inhabitants. Through your sorceries. And God said, though this tree appears to have not achieved power as it looks in the eyes of men, but this tree has more power, vicious power, very dangerous power. God likened this tree as the late Muammar Gaddafi. God likened this tree as the authoritative kings of Egypt. God likened this tree as Gabriel El Selassie. This tree appeared in that nature of human heart. This is the tree that God was saying that because you have deceived yourself to be more like Gaddafi, to be more like revolutionist, to be more like that which can bring a change in the life of people. There is judgment that is coming. I don't know how far it is, but it is coming. The tree spiritually is more vicious and carries venomous poison. The other reason why the tree will be destroyed is because you have built your fortress of your sorceries with blood of men. This tree has built her fortress of sorceries with blood of men, and you think you will not be fully discovered. You have deceived yourself that you are untouchable, that no one can cut you down. No one can cut you down. You have used treacheries. You have been treacherous, and you have used treacheries and deceit to achieve your aims. To achieve your aims. You have remained hostile towards God. This tree has remained hostile towards God. Because of your nature, you have exalted yourself. You sprout from a valley and you saw yourself covering even the mountains of the nation of Kenya, and you saw yourself that you are highly exalted. There is none to be worshipped. And dearly, men and women have been taken hostage. Those that are worshiping you without their knowledge, out of ignorance. They are out of ignorance. Several occasions, there is a river of life that has been diverted towards you, and you have been blocking it at many occasions. You have given a deaf ear to a river of life. This tree, you are about to be cut down. This tree, you are about to be cut down. This is now the judgment about the tree. God is going to expose your sorceries to the kingdoms of the world and to the nations, which will marvel many. God is going to expose your sorceries to the kingdoms of the world, and the nations of the world will marvel because of your repeated hostilities towards God and your trust in yourself. God is going to cast abominable, filthy thing. Abominable, filthy thing against you. and you shall be treated with contempt before the nations and made a public spectacle. You shall be treated with contempt before the nations and made a public spectacle. Abominable, filthy thing is going to happen to you. You shall indeed be isolated from your very own, from even the valley. You will be isolated. And no one shall want to be associated with you. This ancient Kenyan tree, you are going to be isolated, and no one will want to be associated with you. In the same measure of hostilities, you have shown towards God, God is going to multiply double hostilities against you. God is going to multiply double hostilities against you. Your attempts to revive your fortresses of sorceries and witchcraft and harlotry shall amount to nothing. I don't know if you have begun to revive, you are attempting to revive your sorceries, your harlotry, your witchcraft, or you have already attempted to whatever to do it. But God is saying it will amount to nothing. It will amount to nothing, because God is going to afflict you. God is going to afflict you with an unhealable wound, unhealable wound, unhealable wound that will bring an ultimate end upon you. That will bring an ultimate end upon you. Suddenly, the tree will be cut off completely, and her stem will be uprooted. But I saw one thing when the uprooting process was happening, that there was one root of its roots when the stem was being uprooted that scarcely escaped the destruction of the stem and the roots thereof. It scarcely escaped. How my face was covered to see the escape of this one root, I couldn't tell, because God himself knows. Then I heard a voice behind me saying that the same blood you drank which you became drunk of cannot defend you because of your sorceries. It will not defend you anymore. But that same blood will begin to cry for revenge as that blood of Abel. And you will not have part even before the eyes of the Lord. Immediately after all these happenings, I was lifted up between the heavens and the earth, where I could see clearly the Kenyan boundaries, the Kenyan borders. I could see them. And I saw a great multitude of both men and women, young and old, both noble, wise men within the land, dancing and singing. And a loud voice behind me said, "My salvation has come upon the land. My salvation has come upon the land." This came after immediately all the things to do with the tree had been destroyed completely. Then I heard a voice behind me as I was lifted between the earth. How I found myself in between the earth and the heavens, I cannot tell. But I could see every city, every town, every village, men and women, young and old, dancing great and even noble, dancing great, singing, saying, salvation of the Lord, peace be upon the land, for salvation of the Lord has come upon us. The deliverance of the Lord has come upon us. Indeed, it was a great celebration. That is where I ended in that vision, but it was a terrible thing. That thing is going to happen. I was assured it is going to happen not far from now. Not far from now. And I was told to share it. Not far from now. It is going to happen. It is taking place. I don't know how, but it is taking place. The name given to the tree was the famous Kenyan ancient tree. Has to be destroyed. Has to be destroyed. It is happening. It is happening. It is not far from now. It is happening. So my fellow Kenyans, brothers and sisters, that is what I had. And I can say, I'm not good at interpreting the prophetic, but I'm good at the prophecy itself. So whoever will have these wordings and have clearly heard them clearly, in the manner that God will help you to interpret them, run with these wordings. If you are an intercessor, I just call you to run with these wordings. Know that the time is too short. The destruction of the famous Kenyan ancient tree is at hand. It is at hand. If you had taken even the fruit from it, you have to run on your knees and tell God, have mercy for becoming partaker of the fruit of it. Because the fruit of this tree grew healthy by the blood of Jesus. Instead of being watered by the waters of the valley, it was by the blood of men. It was by the blood of men. So, run where you are. God bless you wherever you are. I believe this is the message that God has given to us as Kenyans. So if you are within Kenya, if you are outside Kenya, but so long as you are a Kenyan, understand that the time is at hand for the famous ancient Kenyan tree to be destroyed. God bless you so much. Shalom and shalom.